Hey team, in a previous video we explored the QR code challenge, and in that I explained that we use a pattern, the card pattern, and it is used pretty much everywhere. Today, in today's video, I want to continue looking at that, and I want to look at it through the perspective of this challenge, the social links profile. Okay, so if we click in here, it's a small project. You're going to build out this card. It has a series of links. So now we're starting to add features to our card. Okay, it still has an image at the top, still has some text, and now all of these links. Okay, we can quickly download those assets. So downloading the starter. If you have a pro account, you get access to the Figma file as well, and everything works out. Now, I have already done this, so we can take a quick look at my solution just to get a feel for what we're doing. It is pretty close, right? There's not a lot going on here. I'm sure if I start to do this, you start to see some of the text flexing. We're going to talk about that in a second, but this is what we're going for. Again, kind of like the last one where we're trying to get it as close to the designer's expectations as possible. Okay, so into terminal, we are in my learning directory or wherever you're going to go. I'm going to move that file. So it was downloads social like this, and it was that zip file, the main one, not the Figma file. We're going to move it into the current folder, unzip it, XVF, it is social, excellent, and then CD into that. And the last step is to set up Git, okay? So just like this, we are in good shape. We can add all that. Conventional commits, so git commit -m, this is a chore, not chore like this, and it is initial commit, trying to go fast, okay? Excellent. Let's open this up into code, just like this. So we have all this stuff. It looks like I opened it before. We're going to just get rid of some of that, okay? And then open it into Chrome again. So open Google Chrome, just like this, index.html. Again, we don't need any build tools, okay? There will be a time and place for that. But for projects like this, do you need them? Not really. It's HTML. We can just get it done, okay? Excellent. So here we are. We have our style guide. We're going to use that in a bit. I'm going to make this just a touch bigger so that we can see it, and our index file, okay? This is where we start. If you have to, it does have some pretty good files here, okay? And let's talk about that for a second, okay? Because not everyone's going to be on a paid account. I think you should. I think the resources on Frontend Mentors are very good. Tossing them a few bucks wouldn't hurt, but if that's not your deal or you aren't able to, then we can open one of these, okay? And you're going to do whatever you can to measure this out. So first we should view it at actual size to make sure that it's zoomed in. And there are tools out there that will let you measure this. I don't remember if Preview has any specifically, because I don't usually use Preview. I use one called, this one up here. It is called Pixel Snap, okay? So I can trigger that and get certain measurements off this. So I can see that it's 384 pixels, and between here we have 16 pixels. Up here, it's going to be, it says 27, but because it is the 4-pixel grid, it should be divisible by 4, which means that this should actually be, well, there it is, 24, okay? This one's probably 24-ish as well. It says 32, that's very weird. But lots of interesting stuff here. And then, of course, being able to drag around. It says 90, 91. We're going to pull some of these out of the Figma file, but you're going to have to figure this out, okay? And of course, all the border radiuses, trying to figure that out as well. For now, I do have the Figma file. So in this video, I'm going to lean on that for parts of this, and we can jump in, okay? Back to my code editor, just like this, get rid of that image, and we have all this stuff. Now, I mentioned this before, the attributes, I feel like it gets in the way. I don't want to lose it, but I also don't want it in my final render, okay? So just like this, and up here, all of these styles, gone, okay? Now, again, we are going to use our favorite shortcut here, which is to bring it up and wrap with abbreviation, okay? So in VS Code, Command-Shift-P, wrap with abbreviation. And for all of this, you'll notice that I selected everything here. So let's go back, okay? Select everything and do that. Wrap with abbreviation. And it's going to be a nav, okay, with a class of card links, okay? Now, we aren't done here. We also want a UL. And this UL is going to have a role. So you notice that I use the square brackets here, a role equal to list. Okay, just like this, close it out. And now we get that roll of list here. And then the final thing that we want to do is wrap them all in a list tag and an A tag, okay? With Emmet, we do have a way to do this. So if you type in li, it wraps everything. But if you add an asterisk, now it takes each line and wraps it, okay? And then, of course, that A tag with an href equal to the number sign so that I don't have to go and do that. And now everything is just done, okay? So that's a lot. If you had to do it manually, you wrap it in a nav with a class of links, UL with a roll of list, and then each line gets a list item and a link, okay? Now, why roll of list? The simple truth is Safari. Okay, with some browsers, as soon as we get rid of the bullet on the list item, and we will be doing that in a bit, as soon as we do that, then some browsers, Safari specifically, no longer read this list as a list. So it loses the accessibility for the users that need it. In order to bring that back, we just add a roll of list. Technically, a UL already has a roll of list. But by forcing it like this, we ensure that we get maximum accessibility, okay? Especially for the browsers that no longer do that. And that part of that is because we used to do this pattern all the time, where we would have like a top-level navigation, and it would be in a list. And so Safari stopped reading it as a list because we had removed those bullets, okay? So the roll list is there. We can move up to here. This one is going to be our H2, so we're going to do that. We have our subheading, which is our location, so I'm going to go and do that as a P. And then here, this line, oh, did I not do it? That's weird. I must have missed the thing. There we go. Didn't quite do it right, but that's okay. This quote, let's talk about it for a second. I want to get rid of the quote marks, and I want to wrap it again in a P and then a Q tag. And Q is for quotes, okay? That's the Q. So if we hit enter, what the Q is going to do is it's going to be very smart about our quote marks. So way up here, I have language of English, okay? I'm going to save this just for a second. It's going to try and reformat it a little bit, but that's okay. And if I refresh this, I get quotes. Pretty cool, right? It adds them for me automatically. In fact, if my language, if the language on here was different, let's say French, okay? Now, those quotes are different, okay? And if I go all the way to, say, Japanese, okay? Refresh it again. Now, like it's adding a different font, but the quote marks are different. So it is very much language aware, which is awesome. Okay, we can use that to our advantage in certain places. So for me, making that exactly like this and letting the browser do the work makes sense. Okay. That's not always going to play out because maybe the designer has expectations about what the quote mark should be, but here it works. Let's move on. We need to do a little bit more here before we can do our first commit. Okay. So right around here, these two blocks, I want to wrap them up in an H group. Okay. And an H group is very specific. It is one heading and 0 or more paragraphs. That's the magic here. When we send this up, Frontend Mentors has some checks, and it will technically fail. So I wonder if I still have that here on the HTML report. It says, yeah, the P element is not allowed in the H group, and that's because probably about 5 years ago, they tried to remove H group from the spec, and they realized that, oh no, it is still valuable, but the validator still does it this way. Okay, so very weird stuff. It is very much valid, and the relationship is this needs to be kind of a subheading to this heading. It used to be that we might have like an H2 followed by an H3 as a subheading. That semantically doesn't work. That's not how headings are supposed to work. So they came out with H group, we get heading, and then all of the P's, if you add a P above it with something, now you have a what is it called? A super heading, right? But something before, and then the main heading, and then something after as a group of headings. Okay, that's how this is supposed to work. And so that's how I am going to use it. From here, we wrap all of this up. So we start to get into some of our classes. In fact, there should be a class here that I forgot. We're going to add in card quote. Okay. And then the H group has a class of card info, just like this. And we can take all of this right here and wrap it up in our card content. Okay. So again, div with card content, just like this. We should actually see that right there. Excellent. Okay. Wrapping it up one more time. We need our parent, our container, right? So into here, we're going to wrap it up with our main. And then inside of there is going to be that article tag with dot card. Okay. So there it is. That's kind of what we're going for. We have it. We need to add the image. So same as last time, right above this, between the parent and the card content, I'm going to add that picture element. And I do this because I am planning ahead. Okay. So I covered this in the previous video. I'm not going to talk too much about it again, but it is future-proofing my solution so that if I need to do some responsive images, I can just jump into that. That image with the whatever it is, it's in assets, images, avatar. Okay, so back here we have assets, images, avatar. Perfect. We should add some alt text. You could add, say, Jessica Rendell. Kind of repetitive. Should actually be better than that. So I think for now I'm going to leave it off, and you can have serious debates about what that looks like. Okay. Excellent. I think we have it. We have the picture. We have all of the content. If we save this, we should be able to refresh and get this. And it is zoomed in, so it kind of looks like this actually. Let's commit it and get into it. So git status, yes, git add dot, try again. Git add dot, thank you. Git commit dash m with the card add markup. Okay, Brilliant. Moving back, now we get into the CSS. This is where the bulk of the work happens, and we can just get at it. Okay, new file, style.css, style, spell it right, .css. Perfect. Add it in right here. Just like last time, we have that link of CSS, and it already populates with that name. If you wanted to move it, you can, right? You can put it up in assets or somewhere else. I don't have a preference, okay? Especially for challenges like this. That's usually dictated by the actual build tools that you're using, okay? For something this simple, we can just do it and then do the work. So I'm going to put this over here, style, root, and start moving some of these over. So grab it, paste it in, spaces, get rid of those, make sure that they're all in kind of the same place, and multiple cursors, okay? Go to the end, semicolon, we're gonna need that semicolon. Go to the front, after the dash, change this space to be a dash, and then grab all these letters, bring up the command palette, change it to lowercase, brilliant, okay? We have this gray, which is, today it is a, not an American gray, but that doesn't really bother me, okay, because I'm Canadian. So there we go. We have our colors in place. We should probably get our spacing, okay? Spacing is very similar to last time where this one does have a design system, so we can go and do that, and it has lots. It's all the way from 50 to 500, okay? So dash dash space 50. 50 is what, 4 pixels, right? 4 pixels, yes, because it's a 4 pixel grid. That makes sense. So 50, a few of these. We have 100, which is 8, and 150, 200, I think is that, 300, and 500. And then we need to change them. So this is 12 pixels, 16 pixels, doing the math in my head. It's not working very well. 24 pixels and 40 pixels. Again, later on, if I really wanted to, I could go back and change all these because they're in a single place. I could change them to rem. Okay, I could change them to a better measurement. But when I start, I leave it a little bit messy so that I can just get into it. Okay, so that's that. We have our radius. Okay, radius large, right? Just like this. And that radius large is, I forget, we can go and check. Over to designs, zoom in. This radius right here, it is 12 pixels. Very interesting. 12 pixels. Usually they use even numbers, 10s and 20s, but here we are. Let's get this one as well. That's 8. So our small radius today is 8. And there we go. If you wanted to, you could go and change this. So we could just go in here and go dash dash space 150, right? Because that's our 12. And then right here, dash dash space 100. Okay. If you want to do that, you absolutely can. No harm, no foul. Okay. Font, sans. This is our main font. It is down here, which is Inter. Okay. And Inter is an interesting one. I need the dashes. I forgot that. Which we will see in a second. Okay. Or in a little bit. I'll talk about that. Going to come back to it. Okay. Now, our text presets. It doesn't talk about that, so you might have to, if you're using the files, if you weren't able to download that Figma file, you might have to do some extra work, okay? I did do this, so I'm going to go and grab these right here. We have text preset 1, 24, 150, 14, 150, 14, 150, okay? And none of these change. So if we go back and take a look, side by side, we're going to see that this is text preset 1, this is text preset 1, and this is text preset 1. All these kind of stay the same. We can get that green text, too bold, too bold, too bold. So nothing is changing here, okay? Very similar to the last one. The only thing that we're adding is those links. And there's a mobile view or a tablet view that we'll have to take care of, okay? So text preset 1, okay? That text preset 1 is 24 pixels, and then right here, text preset 2 is 14 pixels, okay? So 24 pixels, we can change that later if we really want to. Text preset 2 is 14 pixels, and then the line height is 150%, but we should not use measurements. So let's do it proper by changing this to line preset 1, right? And it should be 1.5. Absolutely unitless. This makes us, puts us in a place of power, okay? Let's go and get the font. It is Inter, which is way over here. We can get that. Outfit was from the last one. We can delete that one, just leaving Inter. Get the embed code and do this. So we're going to copy and paste the first part, okay? We can actually change this. Sorry, let's do that. So we don't need italic on this one. So one value, just the Roman. But for the weights, we do want them all because I don't want to think too heavily about that, okay? Right here, paste it in, save it. That part is good. And then go and grab this. We're going to bring it back and put it in our CSS file. Sorry, jumping around. Change this to body because that's where we're living. And now we can update some of these. So this is going to be font sans. Our weight is going to be, what is our default weight? Regular, okay? So regular is 400. In fact, if I hadn't closed the style guide down, it would tell me that. 400, 600, 700. We're going to have to figure out where that 600 is. That's semi-bold, just in case you're wondering, okay? Which they are not doing right here. I'll show you where that is in a bit. But right there, all the letter spacing is fine. We can go back and keep working on this. So right there, font size is going to be -- text preset 2, okay? And line height is going to be -- line. What are you doing? That's weird. There it is. My editor was kind of giving me a weird overlay there. I didn't like that. I think we're okay for the moment here. There are a couple other things we need to do, like colors, but here we go, okay? And we should see, whoops, go to the right browser. Boom, okay? So all of a sudden, everything is there. While we're here, we may as well go and add our very simple reset, okay? Again, this is in production code, I would have a more robust reset, but for these challenges, we can just do this, okay? So box sizing, border box, margin of 0, padding of 0, save it, go back, refresh, good, okay? You'll notice that it collapsed down this. The bullets aren't actually gone. They're just hidden behind the edge of the browser, okay? So we're still gonna take care of that in a second, but here we are. Let's go and commit that. So we have this git add dot git commit -m. This is a style add tokens, okay? Brilliant. Going back, let's go and add our globals, right? Let's go and get some globals in. So down here, we have our color, okay? Now, color is going to be white, so we can do that. We also have background color, which is going to be -- gray. I think it is the dark one, if I remember. So just like that. Go in here, refreshing. Lots of cool stuff happening. This is good, okay? Moving down the line, we are going to find some other stuff. So we have that H2, okay? And this H2 has a font weight of 600, okay? Now, I had to dig for that because, again, it says bold here, right? It absolutely says bold. But if you go into the design and you click on the heading, text preset 1, open it up, click in, and all of a sudden it says semi-bold. So maybe they did a quick update to this, but they didn't update the design system. I don't really know, but I do know that something is going on here, and sometimes you need to double check your work, okay? So there's that. That's going to be perfectly fine. We have it, okay? We also have our font size, which is -- text preset 2, wrapping it up just like that. Moving down, we have this heading, and it is bold and it is green. And one thing that I didn't do in the markup was I didn't quite single that out right, okay? So going back to your HTML and finding this heading right here, okay? Highlighting just the London, United Kingdom, opening it up, triggering that wrap with abbreviation, and going strong, okay? So now if we go back here, we're going to see that it is a little bit more chunky, right? And we can operate on that. So here's our strong again. We're going to set that to a color of green. That's all we need to do, because strong out of the box is 700, okay? And if we go and look at our file here, highlight that, it is this preset 2 bold. We click in and it is bold. So by default, we are already there, okay? That's all we need to do for that. Moving down, we're moving pretty quick now, okay? We have that UL with a role equal to list, okay? So if we added this attribute, then we can fire on it, okay? And what we do here is we set list style equal to none, just to get rid of it, okay? Our assumption is that if we're adding the role of list, we're probably also going to remove the list styles. That's my assumption. That's what I've been doing for a while now. So we're going to keep doing that. The last thing is the image, which I did last time as well. So here's image and picture. Some sensible defaults like max width of 100%, just to make sure that it can never be bigger than the width of the browser, and display block, okay? And that gets rid of this little gap between the text here and the image, so everything kind of pushes up. What happened to my font? That's very weird. What did I miss there? Did I miss something? Why is it? Oh, you know what? I bet you I have the wrong preset. I absolutely do. That's on me. This should be preset 1. Save it, refresh it. There we go. Much better, okay? So we have our globals. Let's go and add them, okay? Checking it really fast. We can diff this just to see what's going on. Yes, I did add the strong, and I added a bunch of stuff, okay? Excellent. Git add dot, git commit -m. This is more styles. Add globals, okay? Brilliant. Now, let's talk about buttons, okay? Because if we go over here to the design system, we have a whole page right here dedicated to this button. It looks like this when it's not rolled over, and it's green with darker text when it is, okay? I want to take care of this first. And in fact, my general rule here is take care of the button, and you also take care of any links that need to look like buttons. Now, we don't have a button in here, so what I like to do just for this is right at the bottom of my list here, I'm going to add in another list item, okay? And then I'm going to type button, and it can be anything, okay? It's just something that we can hook into. So just like that, it's going to look kind of ugly, but There it is. Okay. And now we can write the styles for that. So right here, I'm going to write dot button. Okay. And for now, I'm just going to add a cursor of pointer so that we can see the magic happen. So right now, with buttons, it doesn't do that. With links, you get this the little finger, the pointer. But with buttons, it doesn't like that. I like to have it in there, so we can do that. Going back here, we are going to grab all of these, okay? So I'm going to use multiple cursors, add a class of button, okay? And then this one, it feels a little bit weird, but here's our class of button again. Excellent. Go back, refresh it. Now we have that finger and we can start operating on this, okay? So back to the styles. We are in it. Now, background color, okay? The background color is going to change when we hover this. So even though we could use our colors up above, I'm going to set some local variables, okay? I'm going to set my link color to be whatever my default is, which is -- gray. It is going to be 700 if I remember correctly, okay? So right there, I didn't do this right because it needs to be 2 dashes. Thank you. Then -- link text color, okay? And again, I'm going to set it to white, okay? Just like this. So now we have those and we can use those right here. Now for one-liners, it may or may not make sense to do it this way, but I like the control that this gives. I like how it feels very maintainable, okay? So we're going to do that. That background color is going to be -- link color, okay? And our main color is going to be -- link text color, okay? So that should show up here. We can do that. Yeah, okay? And if we zoom in, we get our backgrounds and our stuff, okay? So looking really good. We can keep going. Some other things that we want are obviously with because it's a button, we want that border to be 0, okay? Just get rid of it. If you don't do this, then there's a default border on the button. So make yourself happy by just always getting rid of it. The border radius is going to be -- radius small, okay? Done. Text decoration, this one is for our links. It too is going to be none. And then we have some font issues, okay? Because right now, if we go and refresh, and I zoom in on this, just like this, you're going to notice, actually I need to zoom in even more, so let's go, okay? This eye has a square dot, and this eye has a circular dot, and that, well, that doesn't work, right? That's because this button has a default font, okay? Buttons and inputs use a different font that is not inherited by your body styles, okay? So we need to go and do that really fast with this. This is one of the few places where I do use the font shorthand just to bring it all in one go. So here's inherit, and then change the things that we need, okay? So we have a font weight of 700 and text align center, okay? That's not going to do anything quite yet because we haven't done our spacing. So display block. I mean, if it's a button, we probably want it to be big and chunky. It's not part of a paragraph. So display block, we're going to add a width of 100%, which is going to make it look super ugly for a second, but stay with me. And our padding, which is -- space, spell it right, space 150. Excellent. So now we're there. You can't really see anything because there's no spacing. We're going to take care of that in a bit. But here we are. We have it, right? We do need some hover styles. And this is where things get really, really easy. So hover and focus, because doing one and not the other is probably always a mistake, okay? We go and get these two things, copy them down, bring them right here. Perfect. The link color, I don't know why my highlighting isn't working here, but the link color is going to be green, okay? Not gray, green. Let's try that again. Dash dash green. This one. Excellent. And the text color is going to be gray 900, I think it is. Okay. So now if I go back and refresh, I should get all of this. And I can also tab through here, looking really, really good. Okay. Obviously the sizing is completely shot, but we have it, right? We have a working button, and it works for buttons and for links that need to look like buttons. So at this point, we can go and back out these styles because, oh, actually I'm getting carried away. Back out this line where we had the button because we don't use that, and commit it. So git status, git add dot, git commit -m style button, being a little bit specific because it's for a specific component. Add button styles. Okay, very explicit that way. Composition, it's time now. We're using Cube CSS, at least I am. So I'm going to add some composition wrappers, classes, to get this done. The first one is one that, actually both of them come from the last video as well. So right up here, between our block styles and our globals, I'm going to add in the composition, which is dot flow star plus star. Okay. This is something from Andy Bell. Very, very cool stuff. Margin block start. Yes. Okay. And we set up our variable to be flow space with a default of something. In this case, our default can be something we're already using. So right here, dash dash space 300. Okay. And I get that from going in here and poking around. Okay. So I'm going to see 24, 24, 24. That's all our 300 spaces. Okay. Excellent. The next one I need is something that I called the challenge wrapper. Okay. Because I like for the parent to control the width, right? We should be able to flow a component into anywhere. And that means that the parent should be able to dictate the width of that component. So I do that here. And I went max child. Sorry, I'm reading it wrong, reading my notes wrong, but max child width, which is another variable that we can set with max width, just to help us along. And last time we had that at 320 pixels. We're going to leave it there. Okay, that's our sensible default. Okay. From here we display grid, we place items, center. We set up our min height of 100. Oh, do it right. VH, and our padding. Okay. Now last time I went and did something like this, where it was dash dash space 300. Okay, just to give it that little bit of space. Okay, and I think this time they actually did do that here. So if I go here and I check this, yeah, it's 24. Okay, so I have that. I'm going to copy it because I'm going to reuse it in a second, and I'm going to set up max to be whatever that is, or Lear Verou's trick for centering content, which is a calc that is based on 50% minus half of our max child width. Okay, so 50% minus dash dash max child width divided by 2. Okay, this needs to be in a variable. Let's go and do that. Brilliant. Okay, So now we have our composition styles and we can use them. Let's go do that. Into main, we have a class of challenge wrapper. Brilliant. Card will be flow. The picture is left alone. The card content is flow. And I think, if I remember correctly, the UL is also flow, just so that we can control those spaces. Okay. So double checking. Yeah, I like that. Okay. At this point, everything should start to space out, and it does. Okay. So we're starting to see things take shape. Now, this isn't the right width. We can go and do that really fast. All the way back up, dash dash max width, and I'm going to set that to 456 pixels. Okay. Where did I get that? Well, that is our tablet size. Okay. So 456. We're going to have to take care of this size later, 384. In fact, we can do that right now with a media query. So at media, changing it to min width of, I don't know, like 500. Okay. 500 pixels, being kind of generous there. And grabbing this, pasting it down, 386. Is that what it was? 384. I did that wrong. 384. Yeah. Okay. There we go. So if it is bigger than 500 pixels, we should get this size. Now that I'm thinking about this, this is actually wrong. It should be more like 800. Okay. Because it is the tablet size, and the tablet size here is 768. Okay. So if you wanted to, you could go 768 and have it done. I'm just going to round up because I'm lazy. Okay. But 800 pixels, which means that now if we go here and refresh, it should get bigger. It's not getting bigger. What's going on? Did I set that up wrong? Double checking my math. Dash dash max width. It is. That should all just work. Oh, you know what? I bet you it's squishing. We haven't put any controls on this yet. So there's my main wrapper. Okay. And you'll see that change right here. Let's scroll up. Okay. So it should, where's that size? There it is. Okay. 386, and we go down and it goes away, leaving my default of 456. And now if I hover over this, you're going to see that it is bigger. Okay. So kind of hard to see right now, but it will work once we set a size on this container. Okay. We haven't done that yet. So let's go get ready to do that. Okay. For now, git status, git diff, just to take a look. We added some different styles. We added our compositions. Good. Git add dot, git commit dash m, style, add compositions. Okay. Now we get into the block styles. So now we're actually back to the meat of it. Okay. Where we get to add in our card styles. Okay. And this is where the magic happens. So we have a background color, and we're going to use our gray 800. Okay. That came from the file. We also have our border radius of dash dash radius large. Again, we already set that up, so we can just use it. This is where our width 100% comes in, not 1000, 100%. Okay. And our padding, which is dash dash space 500. Okay. It's 40 pixels. I got that from the file. Okay. Actually, it's not. Sorry. Let's go roll that back to 300. And the reason for that, okay, but I was jumping ahead. On mobile sizes, it's 24, but over here, on any of these other ones, it is 40, okay? So again, I need another media query, just like this, setting it to min width of what, right? What's it going to be? 400 pixels? Let's do 400 pixels. And then padding equal to dash dash space 500, okay? At this point, we should be able to see some of that taking shape, and it does. And again, now if we go in, we're going to see it jump, okay? So it will open up a little bit for there, and then it shrinks down. Chrome won't let me do that. We can explore that later, okay? Excellent. So moving down, dot card image, okay? Specifically on the image, so I didn't really need to do this. I could have actually just gone image, get rid of all this. Excellent, okay? Keeps it a little bit cleaner. Margin inline, is it going to let me do that? Margin inline is going to be auto. And what that's going to do is it's going to center the image. Because we set it to display block, we can do that. This has a width of 88 and a height of 88, just like this. Object fit is going to be cover and a border radius, okay, of 50%, which makes it a circle, okay? This came from the Figma file, so I went and grabbed that from there. But now we should get this, okay? It's nice and centered, looking really good. We can keep moving down. Down here, we have dot card info. And we don't want the card info element itself. We want everything inside of it, okay? Because here, we're setting our flow space to be that really small space, okay? So it's space 50, okay? And then a similar thing with card links. So here's card links, UL, okay? We're going to set it on there. And dash dash flow space equal to dash dash space 200, okay? Excellent. And that should, if I open up the right thing, that should do it, okay? We need one more thing here, okay? And that is to center these. Now, I could have went and put center on the card. I did that with the last one. That works here too. My advice, though, is maybe we should use a utility class, right? We're using Cube CSS. The U is for utility. And we can do that way up here, below the compositions, but above the blocks, okay? We add align center, okay? And that's text align center, just like this. We technically did that with the button, but now we have this, this control, okay? We can save it. We can go up here, and inside of one of these, it could actually be right on the article, but I'm going to put it on the content, okay? Save it, go back, refresh, and we are there. Let's commit before we take a look at what we've done, okay? So git diff, align center, and our card, okay? I probably should have done those as two separate commits, but here we are. I've already done it, so just going for the win, okay? Git commit dash M, style, card, add card styles. Right, a little bit of redundancy there, but it works, okay? And if we go and look at the log, okay, dash dash one line, dash dash reverse, we have a few commits where we did our initial commit, we added the markup, some tokens, some globals, the button styles, the compositions, then we wrapped it up with the card styles, and we are here, okay? Just like last time, we can open up a file. Again, I'm using something called clean shot to do this. So mobile style, sorry, not mobile style. We should use the desktop this time, okay? And definitely not in preview. Come on, don't do that now. Open with clean shot X. And I'm going to crop this a little bit just so that it is easier to use. And then I'm going to pin it again, just like I did last time. It should be 100% up here, okay? And we can reduce the opacity of that, okay? There are shortcuts for that if you need to, okay? So back to the browser, and we should be able to get this right about here, okay? And everything is looking pretty good, right? It's looking very, very close. Now, there are a few edges in here, okay? A few things that don't quite work, and part of that is because of the font, okay? I've done a fair bit of jumping around on this, but this font, okay, if we go over here and we go to fonts, we go back to Inter, okay? We go and look at the About page. So let's get rid of this. About, and we scroll down and we find a GitHub repo, okay? It's been used by a lot of sites, but this font is in active development, with the last updates being just months ago. This challenge was developed back in, I think, June or July of 2024. And just a few months ago, the developer was updating some of the metrics, okay? So there's a little bit of weirdness going on. We can go in and update that if you really wanted to, right? You could go to your H2, and I think it is letter spacing of 0.2 pixels, just like this. Jump back to this file, hit refresh, and now things start to line up a little bit better, okay? Again, there's some funkiness here, but it is very, very close. And I would be happy showing this to the designer and seeing what they have to say, okay? As for that 0.2 pixels, you might want to actually talk to the designer about that before doing it. But here's where we are, right? We added some markup. We did the thing. Added some global styles. Added the button styles, the compositions. And then we finished with this here. And again, it is responsive. So here it jumps out. No problems, nothing breaks. And if we were all the way into our responsive mode, move this away, then it just works, okay? Kind of jumps around, but not a problem. It jumps out. You can see some of the padding going away. Looks pretty good. And out here, okay? And that's what it's doing. Excellent. We are done with this challenge. We can commit it, we can push it up, we can do the thing, and it should be pretty close to what the designer is expecting. Did you find other ways to do this? Do you prefer CubeCSS? Do you prefer BEM? Do you prefer another system to get your styles working? Let me know in the comments. Yeah, do that like, subscribe thing. And let's keep the conversation going. Again, as always, keep the conversation going. I'd love to hear what you liked, what you didn't like, and what maybe I can do better, because I'm still learning too, right? Until then, have a good day, and I will see you in the next one.